everyone, welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of Tangle Talk. On this episode, I have my coach Grayson. She is my coach here at NC State. This is her second year coaching. She played college softball. She's playing pro softball as well. So we're going to talk all about pro softball, her time in college, and just her overall softball career because it's really awesome. And unlike a lot of people, she's still continuing to coach and play pro ball at the same time. So we're going to dive in a little bit of that and just her overall softball experience. So I'm so excited for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hey, this is Grayson, so welcome to Tangle Talk.
Oh, thanks, Kaden. We're all so cute. It's my favorite.
We've been talking about this since I started it. Grayson's like, oh, what are you watching? You sent me a picture the first episode. It was up on your TV, and I was like, oh my god, this is so awkward that people I know are actually watching it. I'm just like, yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah, my boyfriend and I watched your first couple episodes at home, so we put it on the big screen and supporting you all the way. So I think just what you do with NIL and how you've used your experience has been really cool. So awesome.
No, it's been fun. I told Taylor and Tori on the one, I was like, I knew I always wanted to start a YouTube and podcast, or not necessarily podcasts, but do something other than TikTok and stuff. And I was just like, I gotta do it because if this is my last year of college, it's you kind of get pushed under the rug after that. So I was like, I just gotta do it. But
yeah, well, I think if something's put on your heart, you chase it and go for it, and look what happens.
Yeah. So here we are. We're Tangle Talk. Tangle Talk. Tangle Talking. But like I said in Grayson's intro, she played college softball. She's a coach now. She is playing pro as well. So I don't know if you could just give us your rundown on where you started college and just kind of your college experience.
Yeah. So I started my career at Marshall University in West Virginia. I grew up in Western North Carolina, the Virginia area, so for me, staying kind of close to home was important. But really, I chose Marshall because of my coach, Coach Stanton. Shonda Stanton was there at the time, and incredible person, really changed my life. And going into my freshman year, June of my freshman year, before I went that fall, she got the job at Indiana. So I stayed my freshman year at Marshall, a total God thing with just the people I met and the connections I made. Met my boyfriend there. We've been together for 6 years now. And then decided to transfer to Indiana after my first year to just kind of be with her. And transfer portal was way different at that point in time. It wasn't a thing. You had to request your permission to transfer and go through compliance and do all that. So went through that whole process. Decided to go to Indiana. Spent 4 years playing there because I got the COVID year. Stayed on staff, helped coach there for a year, and then got the job here at NC State.
Fun. Yeah. I mean, I transferred too, and like you said, it's totally different. I feel like times have just changed with everything, transferring, recruiting, all that kind of stuff. But
it's so different.
Yeah, it's so crazy. But like you said, so you coached at Indiana. I didn't know that you coached there actually.
I started as a GA, so I kind of got the best of both worlds having an experience there. I tell people I had the full trio. I was a player, I was a GA, and I was a coach, and it all kind of happened really fast.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, I got an extra year to finish my master's program, so decided to stay and finish it. Really knew that I wanted to get into coaching and that the Lord had just put that on my heart. And started as a GA just to kind of get a little bit of experience. We had a situation where the head coach had walked away, been let go, or not our head coach, one of our assistants, and it was an open spot because they had added the fourth spot, and so kind of mid-year I got put into that position. But it was really a blessing because I was then able to step into the role of really communicating with my teammates more, my previous teammates, and just being able to speak more truth and actual softball skill into them. Because as a GA, you're not allowed to coach. In softball, it's different than other sports like football. And so for me, it went from really just being the encourager and the demoer and that type of thing to then being the person that could actually talk through things with them. And as a player, I was able to do that with my teammates because I was a player that was always kind of in the middle of things, and I feel like I coached more as a player than I was able to as a GA.
Oh my god.
Yeah, as a grad
taking kind of a step back.
It was. It was.
I can't do certain things. But
right.
Yeah.
And then when I got the opportunity to kind of be on staff as kind of an assistant that year with them, it just was really cool to be able to step into that role. And with a staff that I just really valued so much, I learned a lot from them.
Yeah, that's good. So do you always want to coach? Like growing up, did you know you wanted to coach?
I knew I wanted to stay in softball, but I just didn't know what that looked like for me. My family owns shoe stores too, so I was always like, all right, I can coach. I can go the shoe store route. And so I really didn't know like which path the Lord was going to lead me down, because family's really important to me. It's one of my values. Like high up on my list. And so for me, like having the opportunity to stay at IU and then trying to get back closer to home and the position at NC State opening up, it was something that I was just like, you know what, I'm going to chase this, and a door's opened, you walk through it, and here I am.
No, I feel like so, like, even me, like people are always like, oh, are you going to stay in softball? And I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like you either like really want to stay into it, or it's like you want to go a different route, but same thing for me. It's like my parents own a business, so I'm like, I guess I'm going to go back and do that, but like kind of hopefully do my own thing in a way too. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're like really into it. Like I know Win is like I want to be a coach, I want to play pro, so it like sounds like similar to Win's one of my teammates. But yeah, I feel like that's something, I don't know. I feel like that's just something the Lord gives you, like the like want to do that and want to coach people and be there for people, because I mean coaching's a really big part of someone's experience. So
and I think that's why I really wanted to get into it, was I believe that I had one of the most amazing experiences in my collegiate career. And my coaching staff really changed my life. And I know that if I needed anything at the drop of a dime, like I could pick up the phone and call Coach Stanton, and she would do anything or be there for me or pray for me or whatever I needed to. And my sister had quite the opposite experience, you know? So for me, I just wanted people to have the experience that I had, and I knew that I could give that to them based on the experiences that I've had throughout my career. Which was something that I thought, like, you know what, the Lord's calling me to do this, and so what a better way to go like spread the good news and to just be a light for people than to do it in a sport that gave so much to me.
That's awesome. You also brought up, so you and your boyfriend started dating your freshman year of college?
Actually, it was after I decided to transfer, because I knew in my heart, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna leave, and so I really was like nervous to go all in, like even though we were 100% like you know, hanging out and just friends and like that type of thing. And then once, he actually is the one that when I brought it up about going to Indiana and just following Coach Stanton and kind of chasing that dream a little bit, he was the final person that was like, you need to go do it. Like, it's on your heart, you need to chase it. And I knew in that moment that like he was going to support me all the way, and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Okay, let's do it. No, that's like me and Austin. We were like friends in high school. He like moved to my school junior year. So we were like friends both years, and I was like, okay, obviously I like him, but then I was like, I don't know, like nothing ever happened. And literally the week before I was leaving to Georgia, he's like, so we're gonna like do this or what? And I was like, bro, I leave in a week, like, and then we're gonna be 8 hours away.
Now we're gonna decide to figure this out.
But no, everything happens for a reason. So y'all did long distance for
our entire dating relationship, like until
like now.
Until now, Well, because when I got the job here, he came to Raleigh, so he moved to Raleigh too. But I was playing pro and he was playing professional football. So in the spring, he was gone the whole time. So really, we were still doing distance. Like we'd be with each other August to December, and then like January, February rolls around, and he went off to train for preseason training stuff, and then softball season. So he was gone the whole time, and then I was gone the whole summer playing. So you know, like 3 months together, 8 to 9 months of professional sports. But
that's how we are. Over like it's like over the summer, which now it's a lot better. We're only like an hour apart, so I was like, I didn't really consider us long distance, but yeah, it was like over the summer we got to see each other, and then after that it was like, I think my sophomore year, like we were both in season, and it was literally like February to May that we didn't see each other, and I was like, it's terrible.
It's hard.
It's definitely hard.
But I think you learn a lot.
Yeah, no, literally. We even talk about it all the time. It's like, I don't think our relationship would be like as strong as it is, like if we were together like all the time, especially through like the beginning. Like since we were friends, I guess, for like before dating, like I don't know, I feel like distance honestly kind of like helped us in that way of like not going from like just like friends to like all over each other like all the time. But yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I would do it differently, maybe like not as long. Maybe like not 4 years of long distance, but no, it's definitely hard. But I don't know, like you said, like finding your person that's going to support you is really important. I feel like that's just like the overall theme I've talked about in like a lot of these is like, if that's your coaches, if that's like relationships, your friends, like I feel like just finding like your people that support you is just something I've learned so much in college, like finding your people is so important.
I'm just a big believer that you win with people, you know, and
Yeah.
like to be successful in life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's a coaching staff, whether it's your teammate, like the people you surround yourself with matters, you know, and I think that regardless of who that is, like people say all the time, you're a combination of the 5 people you hang out with the most, you know, so like why not make your friend group, why not make your significant other, why not make your coaching staff, like somebody that you can rely on long term. Because I really do, like I'm a walking example of that it changes your life.
Yeah. You know? You said, you guys both prayed. Oh my gosh, I know. Restart. Okay, so you and Alex both played pro ball. So let me, I guess, walk us through like how like that worked for you, like transitioning from college athletics to like pro ball. Like how does that like work? Cause I feel like college softball and pro softball, it's so like, I feel like there's not like a set like thing. Like I feel like other sports is like, oh, you have the draft, then you're gonna do this. Like I feel like there's like kind of steps to it, and I feel like softball is so like
all over the place.
Kind of all over.
It is. I think just looking at it as a whole, like professional softball's changed so much in the past 5 to 10 years. Because really the people up top that are in charge, it's like nobody can get on the same page, right? Which sucks as an athlete because it's like, I want to continue to play. I feel like I have more gas in the tank. Now how do I make it happen, you know? And I think if you'd ask any professional softball player, like we don't play because of the money, right? Because it's not like football or baseball or basketball where you can make a crap ton of money that you can actually live on. Like people have to have multiple jobs to actually have a salary that they can live off of. But I think it's a situation where all of us would say we want to keep playing so people after us can, you know, and because we still love the game. And I know that after my collegiate experience, I was like, I feel like I'm not at my peak yet. Like I feel like there's more gas in the tank. I feel like I can continue, like I'm learning so much that I feel like I continue to pour into my game. That's then gonna empty out on the backside, you know? And so I actually played in the summer league, the college summer league down in Florida, the FGCL. And that kind of opened the door with the vibe with Ryan because he's the team owner down there and kind of runs all of it. And so that's how I was seen and known and kind of put on the map a little bit, which was really cool to kind of see like from one step to the next and just the growth of that period. And then you have AU that's out there too, which is a very different way of doing things, but also an opportunity for people to continue to play, which is awesome. So it's kind of 2 leagues happening right now. It's like a league of teams, like a formation of a traditional professional league. And then it's Athletes Unlimited, which is like 60 people. You can switch teams every week, and it's on a point system. So 2 very different ways of playing softball, but nonetheless, just opportunities for people to continue to grow the game. And I think regardless of what that looks like it's an opportunity for people to play. And now that that's a little bit more known, and there's more teams that are getting into the league and that type of thing, that there are going to be more opportunities for people to continue to play.
I know growing up, this is so bad that I don't know this, but growing up I feel like there was like pride and like...
It was the NPF.
So
National Pro
like
Fest. It's all going.
I thought about that the other day. I was like, when did this just like disappear? Like,
COVID wiped out the NPF pretty much. And then after that, like the pride was still around. And they kind of disappeared last year. But we played them my first 2 years in the Pro League. We played the Pride a couple times. And so just a team that had been standing for so long that was still around that we got the opportunity to play as a first-year team was pretty cool. But now it's just ever evolving and growing. So we'll just see what the next step is.
See what it brings us.
Year 4 up on the horizon. So
do you have any like tips on anyone like wanting to get into pro? I feel like like we've been talking about, it's kind of just like so like not structured in a way. I feel like it could be like hard for people to kind of get into it. So I guess like any tips on a college athlete maybe wanting to go that route? Like,
I think there's always people to reach out to. And honestly, the best way is reach out to the people that are playing it. Like if you don't know how to get involved, or you're somebody that you're like, hey, maybe I'm not at a top 25 team that everyone's gonna see me, right? Because it's not like they're people that go out and scouts that draft people, you know, or that are out watching your games all the time, like football or basketball or baseball maybe. I think the summer leagues are a great way to get involved too, because the summer leagues are potentially one day going to like filter into like a minor league system, which could be a really cool way of looking at things if it continues to grow the way it is now. So get involved in summer leagues, like reach out to people that play. Typically, like towards the end of the year, a lot of the team owners or the leagues will put out like Google Forms for people that are interested. And some teams have open tryouts. Some teams just like, hey, this person's interested. Maybe I didn't know they were. Like, let's reach out to them. And so like be on the lookout for those and fill those out, because I think those are 3 ways that you can kind of get your name out there.
So you keep saying summer league, but then with coaching, that's like prime time recruiting. So like, how does that work? Like when you're playing over the summer?
Mm-hmm. So my season runs June, July, sometimes the beginning of August, and that's 100% prime recruiting time. Last year we were fortunate and we played in a couple like tournaments where there was travel ball going on, and I think that's the direction that the league is trying to move into, because a lot of people that play pro do coach, or they're GAs somewhere, or they teach, because that's what allows you to do stuff in the summer. And so last year when we played in Chattanooga, I would recruit in the mornings and then play at night. Or I'd play in the mornings and then recruit all afternoon. And it was fun because it's like, okay, you see your friends out there, like a couple of my teammates, Carmen Greenwood and Lake Kirby, like they coach too. And so it's like, okay, we run back to the hotel, like I threw on my NC State shirt, and then we get in the car and we drive to the field, you know? And it was so exhausting, but it was also so fulfilling just knowing that like I'm living this life where I can live the best of both worlds and like enjoy playing and also turn around and then go watch this younger generation that I know someday will potentially be in my shoes, you know?
I feel like it's kind of like, I don't really know the right word for it, but like you going to play, then like watching these younger girls, I feel like it kind of has to like fill you up differently rather than like you just coaching. Like, I don't know, I feel like it would have to like feel different. You're like, I literally just played and now I'm like going to watch these younger kids. So
it's
like,
full circle, you know, like I go watch people play and I'm like, wow, I remember when I was that age. And my travel ball organization, if I see them out places, or like there are girls now that are like juniors in high school that were like 6 years old that I was giving lessons to when I was high school. And it's crazy to just see everything happen full circle. But it's also one of those things I'm like, wow, this is the Lord working and like allowing me to see like how softball has really just changed my life and how he's worked in it. And then now watching these younger kids that I'm not kidding, we're this big, watching, you know, like shadowing us at travel ball practice or like giving lessons to that are now like looking to get recruited. And some of them have come to NC State camps, and other people have come to my pro games, and it's just like really cool to see how life unfolds. You know?
No, that's how I feel, like especially this year, because this is my sister's sophomore year, but a lot of the girls she played with are like, this is their freshman year, and like obviously sophomore and freshman year. But I'm like, it's just so weird, like seeing all of them like getting posted on like the school's like Instagram and stuff. I'm like, you guys are babies when I was like, which I'm like, they're not that much younger than me, but I guess like I just see them as like little because like they were like my sister's age. So I'm just like,
you always will.
Oh my
like
gosh.
that's never gonna change.
Literally. I'm like, it's just so weird seeing them. Like one of the girls, she's at Clemson now, and I was like, I saw her like on third base. I was like, she's just not old enough to be out there.
To be acknowledged.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know,
but
life happens fast.
No, literally. Yeah, so just obviously because this is my 5th year and then you had a 5th year too, how was it kind of like transitioning from college into like life after? Because I feel like especially this year it's really hit me that I'm like, I should be home like working a job. Like I just still like can't comprehend like if I don't take my next year, I want to, but if the back doesn't hold up, who knows what's gonna happen. But just thinking that I should be home in May, like, or June, whatever, getting a job is just like so scary. So I guess kind of like how you transitioned and like how that was from.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that I had somebody who was really influential in my life at Indiana. Her name was Stacy Marshall, actually, and then Tracy Allen. They both just discipled me in different ways. And I remember one day both of them saying like, there are 3 things that you got to remember, and one's like, what's your purpose, what's your mission, and what's your assignment. And your purpose never changes. It's to love God, love people, you know. Your mission is to spread the good news, period. Like, as a believer, like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shine His light however I can. And then your assignment changes wherever you are, you know. And so I had to think, like, year to year in college, my assignment changed, you know. Like, getting the job at NC State, my assignment changed. Like, when I was playing pro ball and I'm with my pro teammates in the summer, like, my assignment's constantly changing. And so for me, my 5th year, when I knew that like, okay, life is different now, like I'm going to go to the real world, like I knew that I had 1 more year of my master's program, and I was planning on doing that at IU, but if things didn't work out the way that, you know, I had written them out in my plan, like sometimes the Lord's plans are different than what mine are.
No, that could be a lot different.
Right? Like it could have happened somewhere else, like I could have ended up GAing at a different university under a different staff and finishing my degree there, but you know, Coach Stanton just being the person that she is, like she was like finding a way for me to stay on staff, and I'm super fortunate for that experience. And so that I knew that my assignment my last year when I was there was to just figure out like, okay, how do I pour into my teammates here? Then how do I figure out like what I'm going to do next, you know? And then positions just continue to fall into your lap. I was actually, NC State was not on my radar at all. Like I was interviewing at a couple different schools, a couple different smaller Division I universities, because for me, I wanted to get closer to home. Being 11 hours away was just really hard in college, and thankfully, like, your parents are awesome too. They come watch you all the time. I mean, my parents would drive constantly to Indiana to come watch me play, and I have 2 younger siblings, and they both played. So the year after COVID, like 2021, my brother was playing football in the spring, my sister was playing at East Tennessee State, and then I was playing at IU. And so my parents would stay on Friday night in Virginia to watch my brother's football game, and then they'd split up, and one would drive to Bloomington, and the other would drive to Johnson City, or wherever we were playing, or fly. And it was crazy, you know, because they were constantly just going, like, thousands of miles, hundreds of miles to watch us play softball, which, like, parents are amazing. You know, like, how they do it, I don't know, but I'm like, thank you. Thank you, Jesus, for blessing me.
My mom's like, I need your schedule so I can figure out, like, when we're going here.
They gotta plan it.
Yeah, so, no, it's definitely crazy, but, no, that's another piece, just being away from home. I feel like I get that question because my dad gives lessons, so it's like he has a lot of, like, younger kids, like, going through, like, recruiting and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of them ask me about, like, going away, and again, I feel like going into the portal, I like had to like rethink about all that stuff, and I was like, do I want to go far away? Do I want to go back to like close to home? But for me, I feel like I wanted something like totally different, like just to kind of like know if I wanted to like come back home like for the rest of my life. I was like, I feel like this is 4 years that I can like kind of test that out, like, which I love my family and I've always like never wanted to move away, but I feel like going away was just like a good time for me to just like kind of like have like my own time and like even like mature a little bit. It's like you're doing this whole thing by yourself, but I don't know, I feel like it's definitely something people have to think about, but I feel like a lot of people get really like scared of moving away, so I don't know if that's like kind of how you felt. Like do you feel you got like a lot out of being away, or like kind of how was it for you?
Well, I never wanted to go to the Midwest.
It was so hard for me my freshman year. Like, I feel like that was so hard, but I feel like after my freshman year, I started to like learn a lot, like being away. But that first year was definitely really hard.
Yeah, I think when I was looking for somewhere to play, I knew I wanted to stay in the Southeast, and I did the polar opposite. You know, and I think for me, it's like I gradually got a little bit further. Like I was in Huntington, West Virginia, so I was 5.5 hours from home, and then I went to Bloomington, Indiana, and now I'm 11 hours from home. You know. And I think it goes back to what I said with you win with people, and when you're surrounded by people that you value and you know are going to invest in you, you know you have the relationship with, then you're going to be successful, you know, because you know that regardless of what you're feeling or what you're going through, that you're going to have people in your corner to kind of back you up. And so like that's what I tell people all the time, like from a coaching perspective, from a player's perspective, like I'm fortunate that I can give both because I feel like I'm still young enough to talk on the player's side, but I also have the experience to where now I'm in year 2.5 or year 3, whatever you want to call it, of coaching. And so I tell people that it's what you value. You know, like you've got to internally, when you're searching for a school, figure out what's important to me. You know, like is it the big and flashy? Because for some people it is. Is it like I care about who I play for? Like that's what it was for me. You know, is it I want to be close to home? Some people, it's like, as crazy as it sounds, is like, okay, like, what's the school colors? Like, are you guys Adidas or Nike? Like, those are conversations, like, real conversations that people have. And some people, like, want to go, like I said, to the big and flashy, or the people that were in just in the World Series or that type of thing. And some people have family connections to schools. And so it's really about, when you look at it from a holistic perspective, like what do you, Peyton Bordeaux, value when you're looking to go to a school? What do I, Grayson Radcliffe, value when I'm looking to go for a school? You know, and whatever's the top priority on your value list, like, let me restart that part. Let's go off it. But whatever the top priority is on your value list, like you've got to go chase that. Period.
No, for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah, that was like going through recruiting. Like my mom literally like made me write down like a list of like things I wanted, things I didn't want. We literally printed out a map of like the United States, and I was like, I drew a line, and I was like, I'm not going past this line, because it's like, I didn't want to go too far. I was like, yeah, like, okay, 8-hour drive to Georgia could have been an hour, whatever, flight to whatever other state, but I was like, I feel like just knowing that I was like that far, I was like, I just don't, like, I don't want to do it. So it's like, like you said, everyone's values are going to be different, but I would definitely like give that like as a tip, like to definitely like sit down and like have that talk with yourself on like what do I want, because I feel like especially younger kids, I mean for me recruiting, I got recruited in 8th grade. Like I was like,
It's crazy.
I was a baby. So
Crazy.
it's like, how am I gonna sit down and say like, oh, I
know what I want in my life.
Yeah.
When I'm,
So,
14 years
literally.
old? Yeah. It's
But
crazy.
definitely like sitting down, like with yourself, with your parents, with your friends, whatever at that time. But like talking about like what you want, I think is like really important rather than just like going into it and it's just like a free for all. Because I feel like that can kind of be hard. But
it does.
Okay, let's get into your hair. We don't know what we're gonna do yet.
It's an experiment.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the hair part.
I've been telling Peyton, at like on game days in the spring, I'm like, Peyton, you gotta braid my hair for a game day.
Literally. So here we are. Here's our first test run of me doing Grayson's hair. I think I'm gonna do a little side braid.
Okay.
You're like the pro with the side braid.
Alright.
Okay, like I said, we're gonna get into a little bit of a Q&A of questions you guys asked for Grayson. So I'm just gonna braid her hair, and yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. So, you can just pick whatever one you want to start off on.
Well, since we're on the coaching train,
Yeah.
we can talk about how the recruiting process has changed
Yeah.
over time. I think, Peyton, you probably experienced this similarly. Peyton's my sister's age, so it's fun to kind of see. Like you guys, I feel like we're the last class that really got the old school recruiting, we could call it. Because when I was getting recruited, it wasn't even like websites and like sports recruits and things like that weren't even a thing, you know?
I feel like that was kind of like my sister's age. Like I said, she's a sophomore, so like 3 grades under me. So I feel like that was like their time. Like they were like, oh, gotta post on sports recruits, gotta post on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it was
like,
totally not a thing for us going through it. I think when you think old school recruiting, it was, okay, how can I go to camps, which is similar to how it is now, but that's how you got in front of people. You sent emails. I remember picking up the phone and calling coaches. I remember Lisa Navis was the first coach that I picked up the phone and called, and I was terrified because she actually answered. And Navi and I have a great relationship now, so it's kind of funny seeing that go full circle. But like I couldn't tell you, I don't think in my coaching career I've had someone pick up the phone and call me outside of the new September 1st rule, right? Like as coaches, we stay up till midnight, make our phone calls to people that are on our list. So after that date, people call, but it's people that are on our list. Like I would say that I haven't had a random person pick up the phone and call me and be like, I'm passionate about coming to NC State and this is how I feel about it. You know, because I feel like when you talk to somebody, you get that personal relationship with them and you really can figure out like what they value and who they are. And really just see people who were raised to be bold and to just have convictions and to not be afraid to pick up the phone and have a conversation, because I think today's generation, everything's through a screen. And I feel like when there is a kid or an athlete that can come have a real conversation, whether it be over the phone, whether it be in person, and really just articulate what they want, and that they're passionate about it, I think that says a lot about who you are.
No, for sure. It's funny you brought that up, and the thing that came to my mind, so like I said, I was like little when all of this was going down. Like I was too young to be making these decisions, but I remember my first call was to Coach Lou at Georgia, actually, and my mom made me like call her phone number and like fake talk to like my mom.
To your mom?
Yeah, to my mom.
That's funny.
And she even like answered the phone. She was like, "This is Coach Lou," and I just started like dying laughing because it's my mom. It's not Coach Lou on the phone.
And they're 2 totally different personalities.
But it was just so funny like going through that and like just having to call people. It definitely was so nerve-wracking, but like you said, like you get those like connections over the phone so much better, like obviously than like social media and like what they're posting. Like it's hard to judge someone from that.
Absolutely. And I think too, like as much as we're recruiting the athlete, like the athlete's recruiting us too. And so I think they get to learn a little bit about who I am and what's important to me when I talk to them on the phone, because you can't really see that through maybe social media or through seeing me at your game out recruiting. And so I think that piece of it's a little different. It's fun.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. How to train to be a professional athlete while coaching. Let me tell you, it is not easy, but it's so much fun. I think the thing that I enjoy the most is knowing that I am still training right now. Like if there's something that one of our players doesn't understand in practice or doesn't fully get, like I'm not afraid to just hop out there and do it with y'all. And I know that if there's something that's too challenging for me to figure out or that I can't get, that, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this drill because it's too hard for y'all, you know? But I also think that it's a great way for like me as a coach to connect with you guys too, just being out there and still do it. But I do really have to plan my schedule. And so it's for me, it's like, okay, when can I get up and when can I lift? And then like, okay, how do I get my softball stuff in? And my season's in the summer. So in the fall, I really don't need to train as hard, you know, but like when spring rolls around and you guys are in season, like that's the time where I got to kick it into high gear and figure it out, you know? I think the hardest thing is finding live pitching. And so praise the Lord for Reagan Spencer this year. Reagan, you're going to be throwing to me a lot. Shout out Reagan. She's one of our grad managers. She came from Clemson. She's awesome. But yeah, I think training, you really have to take control of your schedule and you really have to be passionate about it. Because you're not doing it every day. You know, like there's not a set time of, oh, I have practice today from 2:15 to 5:15.
Yeah, like it's all on you.
All on you. Yeah. And you're by yourself doing it.
Yeah. And I feel like you, like, doing so, I don't know if you realize this, but I feel like it's so just like it pushes, I feel like us more too, because it's like we know that you don't have to do those things. Like Grayson will be up at 6 a.m. conditioning and we see her running around doing stuff with us, and it's just like really motivating knowing that like you just push yourself like a whole nother level. And I don't know, it's just really motivating, at least for me, but I know a lot of other girls feel that way too. So but yeah, she grinds. Don't let her fool you.
Grinder.
Grind.
Game rewards the grind. Shout out Summers Method down in Florida. That's who I train with. So I do their online program. And it's fun, but it's challenging. It kicks my butt. Okay. Favorite memory playing. I feel like I have so many. I told you at the beginning of this podcast that my experience was so great that I just wanted other people to experience the same thing. And a lot of that was just who I played for. I know I've talked about Coach Stanton and Coach Fern and Coach Bell on here, but I really do think your coaches change your perspective on life. Sure. And Coach Stanton got inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple weekends ago at Marshall, and starting my career there, I felt it was only right to just go and to support her. And seeing the people and the players that came back to be there for her was incredible, you know, and just the passion in her voice for what she had for players. And she said that a great coach doesn't make great players, but a great players make a great coach. And that was something that just really stuck with me. And I, on my drive home, because it was a recruiting weekend in Raleigh, so, you know, juggling everything. It was within driving distance, but wanted to be there to support her, and then came back for the football game and our recruits the next day. And I ended up getting back to Raleigh at like 3:30 in the morning. And on her night of her Hall of Fame induction, she called me 2 to 3 times on my drive back. And stayed up till like 3:30 in the morning to make sure I got home safely. And I just think that speaks volumes on like a coach, who she is, you know, which is really special. So I have so many memories playing that I just feel like are so incredible. I actually paid in one time we were playing Georgia down at FAU, and I mean at this point in time, like it was Coach Stanton's second year there, like we weren't supposed to be good. Georgia was ranked 6th at this time. I think you'd have been a senior in high school because it was 2019. And we ended up beating them, and I ended up hitting like it was like the 5th or the 6th inning, like an oppo field bomb. And it was my first one of the season, like my first one as a Hoosier, and it was just like one of those moments that you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so much fun. But I think when you talk about like playing, it's not the wins and losses that you remember. It's the moments and the memories with your teammates, whether it be in the locker room, whether it be conditioning at 6 o'clock in the morning. To all my Indiana girls, like all our memories on the Versa Climber, like those still ring true in my mind. And so I think those are the most fun times, you know. Flipping to my favorite memory as a coach, I think opening weekend last year down in Florida. Just seeing you guys on the field for the first time and the joy that everyone on our team just had in their eyes, and just to be playing again, and just to finally, I think, get the freedom and the reward of like being out on the field and seeing stuff show up, you know. And I think as a coach, watching you guys work on something day after day after day, and then seeing it show up in a game or like in a live situation is always something that I'm like, yes, like I'll stand out on first base, and when you hit your first bomb in the ball game the other day, like I might have been more excited than you were. But I think it's those little memories. Like, it's not, once again, it's not the wins and losses.
Yeah.
It's not the accomplishments. It's not the how many games did we win, or did we make it to postseason, or what did we do.
Yeah.
Like, it's seeing you guys have success on the field,
Yeah.
and then turning around and seeing you guys have success in life afterwards. That I think fills my cup the most, you know?
Yeah, I feel like as a coach, it's so cool because, like, as a player, like, you're getting rewarded, like, from those things, and then, like, as a coach, like, you're seeing all these things happen for 20-something girls, so that definitely has to be, like, a cool feeling, like, seeing all of that. Like, there's just so much, so.
And I think the relationship on the flip side of it, too, like, knowing that if there's something that y'all are struggling with, or there's something in life that, hey, how do I handle this situation, that I can just help speak truth into that. And then seeing you guys grow through that as just young women is really inspiring too. So
Awesome.
It's fun. You guys are awesome.
Awesome. You're awesome.
Okay. What are things you look for in an athlete while recruiting? This is a fun question. I think softball is a sport that it's not like you can just walk up to a game and see somebody instantly get the result, you know? Like, I could go watch you play 3 games and you get 1 hit in these 3 games, or you might walk twice, or maybe you get 1 ball hit to you in the field, and it's like, okay, how do I showcase my skills? I think there's so many intangibles in the sport of softball that just can make you stand out, and there are honestly people that I would want to put on my list, or that I see at camp, and it's the way that they interact with their teammates, it's their body language, it's how they respond to their coaches. At camps, it's really like how you hustle and how you move and what you look like in that. And those are the little things that I feel like stick out more to me than your straight up skill, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think you can coach your skill too. Sometimes you can't coach your character. And I think who you are and your effort and your responses to things really show like how you're going to impact a program.
Yeah.
I think culture kids are hard to find sometimes, and I think those are the ones that are the hardest to recruit, but the most fun to recruit too, you know? Because maybe it's somebody that, I want someone that's going to come into NC State and that's going to change this place because they're talented, but I want athletes that are going to come into NC State and they're going to change this place because they're good people.
I'm trying to do a twist on you, and I don't think I've ever done a twist on another person.
On someone else?
I've always just done it on myself. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, you get it. I can't wait to keep my hair in all day today.
I know, I literally just thought about that. I was like,
At
I'm gonna have
practice.
this in at practice today.
Everyone's gonna be like, ooh, cute hair, G, and I'll be like, Tangle Talk.
Talk.
Tangle Talk. Hit up your girl Peyton at Tangle Talk.
I know, I've been like trying to get more other girls to come on. Everyone's like, I'm so nervous. I was like, don't be nervous. I was like, we're just chatting.
Yeah, it's just chatting with the camera and lights on.
Yeah, literally. Just a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, you're fine. You can do whatever you want. Peyton, I think for you, like, how did you get into like hair braiding so much? I know it was NIL stuff, but like have you always been passionate about braiding hair?
I mean, all growing up, like I always did, I guess, like some kind of braids to my hair. So I feel like it kind of just fit. Like, I don't know, like growing up, all my softball pictures, I had like some kind of braid in, and I was always like wanting to try new stuff. And at that time, I don't even know like where I was getting inspo from, if I'm being honest, because like TikTok and stuff wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
but I feel like I kind of was just like, let's just try this today. And so I don't know. I feel like when the NIL thing came out, it was kind of like one of the first things I thought about doing. So I was like, I do my hair for every game, and I've always done it forever. And I don't know. I just like doing it. I feel like it's a way to like kind of express yourself in a way, like. I mean, softball, we're all wearing the same thing, so it's like you can do your hair however. So that's kind of like how I got into it. But like you said, NIL was definitely like the main thing, like kind of showing it off a little bit. But
did your mom braid your hair growing up, or have you always done it?
No, my mom actually doesn't know how to braid. Like she can do like a normal like, ponytail braid, but she cannot braid. My whole life, we joke about it now, but she had the most ginormous tub of gel, and she would just slick it back, put it in a braid. That was our hair for when we did cheer, whatever, softball, like when we were little, obviously like before I could braid, but yeah, so my mom does not know how to braid.
It's funny.
So, yeah,
I remember like growing up and playing like 8U, 10U, like just getting into travel ball. Like my dad coached me, so he would take me to all my tournaments, but I'd always wake my mom up in the morning and be like, Mom, can you please braid my hair? And I always played in like double French braids, like just 2 French braids down the back, like not Dutch, just straight up normal double French braids. And every travel ball game of my entire career, I played with my hair like that. But when my sister started playing, I was like, man, I gotta figure out how to braid my own hair. So then I taught myself. And then I had to start braiding my hair, and you know, my mom was no longer my hair braider, but it's always so fun. Like you do so many different things. But I was the queen of like same hairstyle all through college.
Yeah, I feel like you have those people too. Like I have my like, what is it called? My like
your go-to hairstyle.
Your go-to. What is it when you have like a superstition?
Superstition.
Like people are like superstitious about like their hair or whatever, and then you have like people that like me, and I have not the same hair in a month, but yeah, so I don't know. Everyone's got their own thing. Okay, I ended up just braiding it because
that's fine.
She didn't look the cutest. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, make me look cute.
Okay, there's the braid. All done. Here, you can do a little spin. Little spin.
See, my thing about braids, my ears stick out.
Oh my gosh, that was me too.
I hate like anything. I can't slick back, or I have my visor and I put my visor over it. Like we'll visor it today, so we're.
My ears like aren't even that big, but for some reason when I was little, I was the same way. I was like, I have to have my ears covered. Like I can't.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I'm not a fan of this.
So yeah, that was episode 4 of Tangle Talk. Thanks so much for being here. I had so much fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm proud of you. I think what you're doing is awesome, and I think people don't tell you that enough. So you just need to know, and all you viewers need to know that Peyton puts a lot of time and effort into what she does, and being a collegiate athlete, and trying to go to school and figure out your life, and being an NIL ambassador for everything, and trying to run a podcast. Like it's not an easy lifestyle, and there's so much that's going on, but you handle it with so much grace, and you really do inspire so many people out there. So you're doing a great job. Keep doing it.
Thanks. Okay, well, I'll see you guys next week for episode 5. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and looking out for all the sneak peeks this week. So, see ya.
Bye, guys.